Buenos Dias, Gunners Collective TV. Back at it, you already know. Like a torta with some bad habits. Bye up, bye up. Let's straight get to the intro. Welcome back to the channel. And if you haven't already hit that like and subscribe button, make sure you go ahead and do that. Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directing the direction of the dope content that the gun stays kicking. And I appreciate the support, man. I'm very humbled by it. I had to go old school on the intro. You like that? Dum, dum, dum. That's that old school stuff. Make the beat knock one time, right? Those that have been following me for a lot of years, you remember that. So today is the day Mijo gets justice. Well, slightly get some justice, right? Halfway. Baby Manuel and Baby Promise will get justice today, halfway, especially Promise. She's finally going to get the justice she deserves because that asshole Jakey, the snaky, is gone, right? Jake Haro will be sentenced today. He goes to court today. Now, Rebecca Haro will not go to court because their trials have basically been separated. She will go to court in a month from now. Jake will be in sentencing today, and it's looking like he's going to get stretched out, Stretch Armstrong style. Minimum 15 years to life, maximum 31 years to life. Now, they are going, from what I'm hearing, the district attorney is trying to give him that big 3-1, a little 31 to life based upon sentencing guidelines, okay? It goes on sentencing guidelines. It goes on your history, your criminal history. You know, there could be enhancements thrown in there. But he has pled guilty to second-degree murder. That carries 15 to life. He also has pled guilty to an assault, okay, which can carry anywhere from 10 to 15 years. And then he got the misdemeanor false allegations to a to a police officer, which is a misdemeanor. It doesn't carry much time. But has been thrown in there, and it just doesn't make Jake look good, right? Now, I'm going to be totally honest with you. I'm going to be watching. We're all going to be watching, those of us that have kept up with justice for Baby Manuel, that have kept up with this case from the beginning, who actually believed that Jake and Rebecca Haro were guilty. Now, like I said, we're halfway there. Mrs. Lumpy Butt is still fighting the case. And by Jake pleading guilty, it's going to make her a whole big old giant mountain to climb. Because you just can't have the father saying, okay, we did it. I did it. You're right. I lied. It was a big lie, a big old scam. And then her sitting there and saying, no, it was Ola, bitch. No, it wasn't. Stop. Okay. It was not. It was Jake and you and a partridge in the pear and the Grinch and fucking Casper the Ghost and everyone else you're trying to make up. But it was definitely you and Jake because Jake has already admitted it. So that's what's going to make it hard for Rebecca. But today, what's going to happen is exactly this. Jake is going to go and throw himself at the mercy of the court. Okay, it's not going to be a quick court case like it's been. It's going to take a little while longer. There's going to be victim impact statements. So best believe we might see Promises, adoptive parents go to the stand and maybe explain the character of Jake and what they believe happened to Promise, because that's guaranteed to be a victim impact statement. Because Promise can't speak for herself, her parents can. And they could talk about how she lives daily, how she was impacted or affected by the assault that happened to her. They could basically say how Jake was, how he is. And that could play a big part in the judge's decision because it's out of the district attorney's decision. Okay, the district attorney never offered a deal. The prosecution never once was, I think, willing to give Jake a deal. Not at that point. Jake just threw himself at the mercy of the court because he knew he was guilty. Some say it was his conscience eating at him. Some are saying he was tired of the county jail and ready to move on. He knew he was guilty. I think it was a number of things, and I think it was all those things combined. I think his conscience was eating at him. What little bit of fucking conscience that monster has, that child killer. I think it was the fact that he doesn't like to be confined in certain places, and now he's going to be confined for the rest of his life. But believe me, everybody knows county jail is worse than prison. I think it was a number of things that played a factor into his decision to ultimately give up the ghost, but he hasn't truly told us what we want to hear, which is where baby Emmanuel was placed, how this murder actually happened, and why. There's always a reasoning behind everything. And I think that's the question that people want to answer most. Not even the part about where baby Emmanuel is, because we know wherever he is, he's not alive. You know, those of us that have been following the case and pushing, we of course we want him back. We want him around people that care, whether he's dead or alive. That I don't think what is ever going to happen. To be honest with you, in truth, truthful. Excuse me, my voice is messed up. I had a long weekend cheering for them them Dodgers, right, and them Lakers. Shit, not the Raiders. Now with Jake, he will go to court today. He will throw himself at the mercy of the judge, and he may make a statement. Okay, you are allowed to make a statement at your sentencing. And in this, he might try to apologize and win the hearts of you fucking idiots that believe in him, right? He might try to play the blame game and blame other people directly or indirectly. Okay, this may be the opportunity that Rebecca has or needs or doesn't want him going up there and saying too much, because if he goes up there and he spills the beans and he tells the truth and he admits why and where and what happened and all that, that could definitely hurt Richueca's case. That could put her in a situation where she's going to be reaching out. Her lawyer's going to be reaching out for a deal, and she may or may not get one. You know, if somehow Jake just comes out and says, you know what, we're both monsters. This is what we did. I got to get this off my chest. Forgive me. I mean, he might be forgiven to a certain point by that judge, but he's not going to be forgotten. He's going to get stretched out. Now, with the district attorney seeking 31 years to life, it's not far-fetched to say that that's what he may get. If that's what the max is, the judge may even go above and beyond that. You guys got to understand, there was no deal in place. So at this point, according to law, the judge can give him the maximum sentencing on everything if he chooses to. I don't believe that's going to happen. I believe the judge is going to give him the mid. I believe judge is going to give him 25 to life. Now, will that hold him forever? It will. And let me explain to you why. In the state of California, life is life. Now, I know you're saying, but Gun, how did Dubs get out? How did other guys that were lifers get out of prison? Well, there was a law that was passed. Okay. My brother utilized the same law to get out. That law that was passed benefited people that were under the age of 25 that did their crimes before the age of 25. It was a youthful offender first time. If you did any crime that made you a lifer or gave you over 20 years and you were under 25 years of age when you committed that crime, you got a second look. Not everybody was eligible, but there was a lot. That's why you're seeing a lot of lifers come home, because they're utilizing that law change to get some get backs. You know, it's just not that easy though. Okay. It's just not, okay, this guy was under the age of 25. He's coming home for sure. It's not like that. You actually have to program. You actually have to not get write-ups. You actually have to go in there and do those programs like anger management. And if you have drug counseling, alcohol, whatever affected your life or played a part in your crime and how it played out, you're going to have to go ahead and do that. Also, you can't have write-ups. If you continue to get write-ups, continue to get caught fishing, you know, there's petty write-ups, and then there's write-ups for assaultive behavior, getting caught with knives, things of that nature. Okay. And people say, well, if you get caught with a cell phone or you get caught fishing and it's a petty write-up, is that going to affect you at board? Everything's going to affect you, because they're going to show that you're continuing a criminal pattern. Okay. You haven't learned your lesson. If you could do something as petty as fishing on the tier, then you can go out there and still do criminal activity, because you're showing you can't be successful in society if you can't even be successful in a prison. Now, I understand prison is different. You know, people got different things going on. It's understandable. But at the end of the day, you need to realize and recognize that if you don't know how to act in an environment such as prison and listen to the structure and the authority of what's going on, then you definitely can't function out in society when you have a job, you have bills to pay, you have family to take care of. The board members are going to look at all of that. So when you have life You have life to continue to have an opportunity to prove not only to those board members, but to yourself and your family that you're able to function at that type of level on the streets. Okay, no one's going to forget what you got locked up for. Now, in Jake's case, he can never be trusted around children again. A man that beats and kills his own children, we don't need those type of fucking weirdos in society around our children. Okay? And imagine just how many of those are. Just imagine when you drop your child off school. I'm not trying to fearmonger or make you scared and take your kid out of public school, but you don't know. It could be a teacher, a principal, a cop. It could be anyone. You know, you don't know what your neighbor is doing in his own home. So people are not going to forget. People don't easily forget a child murderer. This is a big case. This will live in our hearts and our minds for years. And I think as a community, as a society, we are looking for justice. And the only way justice is going to be put out there is if this man is taken from the streets forever. I'm here to tell you, if he does ever get action at getting out, if he just does the right thing, goes in their programs, doesn't get a write-up, which is almost impossible, right? He's going to get out in his 70s. He's not going to be a threat. They're not going to be walking like that. He's going to be all chueco, fucked up. Now, his fat bitch, on the other hand, earmuff your ears, women. There's people that get at me. I don't like when you call her lumpy butt. Well, I'm going to, so it doesn't matter. She, on the other hand, is the devil in disguise. She's the worst one of the two, regardless of what you think. This guy has to have some type of compassion, or his ego, or whatever it was. I don't care. It made him admit guilt. It took us through the burden of trial. And I know there's a lot of people that wanted the trial to happen because they just wanted to hear the story. I'm not that cold-hearted. It doesn't matter to me the story of why he did it. There's no explanation for why you hurt a kid. Nor is there one that I want to fucking hear. Am I right? You did it. You take responsibility. Toma, life. Get out of here, stupid. That's it. Now I'm happy, right? And I know Iman was smiling somewhere. Bye-bye. Hola. See you later. Now, Rebecca's dumbass is different. She's a cold-hearted individual that cares for nothing but herself. I've always said that. You know, you have a woman, take for instance, who takes care of herself. I've never had problems with that. You know, a woman that does her hair, does her nails, likes to look a certain way. Never had a problem with that. As long as she's working hard for it, or she has a husband, a man that takes care of her, and you know, however she does it, she does it. But any woman that has children to raise and they're hungry, or they got a dirty house, but she's looking good, but they ain't got no shoes on their feet. Now that right there is a different story. You know, when I go out in public and I see a little kid with no shoes, they're sitting in the crib, the stroller with no shoes on their feet, and I got a jacket on and it's cold, and I see the mom with a nice jacket on, and her nails are done, her hair's done, but her kid ain't got no shoes. I'm just the type of asshole to walk by and say something. Damn, must be nice. Them Jordans are clean. They'll be like, oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, where's your kids' Jordans at though? Oh no, it's not effective. But bitch, but if it's cold to you, it's cold to him. I'm just saying. Rebecca strikes me as that type of woman. A woman that is superficial and has a lot of flaws to cover up. You know, you seen when she was locked up, when she got arrested, her hair was done. You know what I'm saying? Not necessarily her nails. I couldn't get that close up, but her hair was done. If you look at the video when she, oh no, Ola beat me up, it fucked me up. Her hair didn't look done. It might have been. Maybe I'm just bypassing it because it was all chuecked out. It was all matted and shit. It looked like roaches were in it. But I seen her hair was looking nice and vibrant and done when she was arrested, right? And I thought to myself, damn, her mind wasn't really on her kid. Her mind was on her. So that type of woman right there is just an irresponsible, evil, conniving person, an egomaniac, right? And not to say Jake wasn't. Jake's a piece of shit. He's about as piece of shit as shit. Smell that? Do you smell what Jake is cooking? That's Jake. But Rebecca's worse because all she cares about is herself. Even now, right? She's pleading not guilty. How the fuck do you do that? You've seen your husband already admitted what happened, or at least to the point that he did that. You would think that she would step up and say, you know what? I can't take it anymore. I may be a bad person. I may have made a mistake or did what I did. And again, killing a child's not a mistake. But I'm guilty. But she won't. She's ready to take it to the caja. She's ready to go to the box. All the way. She's ready to be judged by 12, then carried by 6. We'll see how it works out for her. I think today Jake is going to make it very hard for her defense. There's something in me that Jake has surprised us every time, if you notice. Rebecca doesn't. Rebecca's pretty consistent. Not guilty, not guilty. Hola, not guilty. Okay? She has a private defense lawyer. Not paid for by her, but paid for by the state. But it is a private defense lawyer. So he's a little bit more cunning and sneaky than Jake's fucking court appointed lawyer, right? Jake has surprised us at every turn. You know, in the beginning, when they first were having these felony conference hearings, remember when Rebecca's team was ready to go all the way? Like, let's go. And Jake was like, no, I might bail out. We need more time. Surprisingly. Then, okay, let's give him a little bit more time. And it is what it is, right? And then this last one, Rebecca's team was like, quiet. We need a little bit longer. Jake's like, I'm guilty. Even his lawyer was shocked. Like, what the fuck? He will surprise you at every twist and turn, and that's because he's a coward. He is a coward that doesn't know or doesn't have the resilience or the strength to fight a fight. He just gives up. He just taps out, and he tapped out. But we're glad he did. So today, it's going to be a big, big, big shock for Rebecca Haro. Believe me. She will not be in court today. I know initially she was supposed to start do her pretrial conference today. They did it the other day. They stretched out to, I believe it is December or January. It's January, I believe. So she will not be in the courthouse today, but Jake will, and he will be sentenced. He will, like I said, victim impact statements. He'll give a statement. The judge will say what he has to say. The prosecution will say what they have to say. His defense lawyer will say what they have to say. Right now it's not a fight for whether he's innocent or guilty. That's not even the case. It's just a sentencing hearing, meaning he's already admitted guilt. Let's see what he gets. So today's a great day. Today's the very, very first step into justice for Promise and Emmanuel. And so I woke up feeling vibrant. I woke up feeling good. I woke up with a sore throat because, man, I was out there motherfucking cheering, right? But today is a fantastic day. As far as my professional opinion, and I'm a professional criminal, or at least I was, so that's my opinion. I think 25 to life sounds about right. If it's 30, 31, I'm saying? That's cool. What we do not want, ladies and gentlemen, is him not to get an L. Okay, we don't want that. If he gets a hard number like 30 years or 25 years with the date, he'll be out. He could quite possibly be out in less time than that because he'll get his 85%. Now, what does that mean? Say he's given 20 years flat, 20 years with the date. I doubt it, but say he's given 20 years with the date, right? 85% of that, you got to understand, just because he gets a write-up, so it doesn't add time. There's ways to get your time back. He will be going to an SNY yard, a sensitive yard. I'll be doing a video on that, explain to you guys exactly where he's going to go and what he's got coming. But there's quite a possibility that he can get in the groove with some other weirdos like him and start going to church, because they all do. Everyone, you'll see. Hey, mark my words. He's going to find God. He already found him. God already showed up to his cell. See, God's always been there. He just wanted to talk to the devil. That's what Jake wanted to do. Now he's going to all of a sudden, like they all do, find God, right? Ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with it. You know what I'm saying? I'm with my Lord to the fullest. I've always been. Even when I was gangbanging, I knew I was making bad decisions. I just made them on my own. I knew that was the devil that made me do it, right? I know when to do it and how to do it. And that was just me. Jake's going to find God. He might start doing good or whatever. For those that are saying, man, he's going to get smashed as soon as he gets there, it doesn't work that way. It definitely doesn't work that way. It could happen or it could not happen. We'll find out. Anyways, today, man, court date. Let's see what happens to Jake Haro. It's going to have a big impact on Rebecca Haro. And hopefully, man, this justice is dealt with swiftly and everything that he deserves, because this man don't deserve no breath anymore. He deserves nothing. I don't have a bone in my body that feels sympathetic towards this fucking piece of shit coward. I hope he gets all day, every day. For those that are saying, will he get death penalty? That's not on the table. For those of you saying, will he get the LWOP? That is not on the table. The highest he can probably get is 31 to life. If they add all these crimes together, stack them on top of each other, give him piggyback rights, and stretch him out, I believe this man's going to walk away with 25 to life. And that's a hard 25 to the Izzel. He's going to go over there to the SNY, and Saturday he's going to be washing clothes, jacking people off, and he knows how to do it, and it's going to be all bad. Anyways, with that being said, let me know what you guys think. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive, struggle for what I truly believe in. That's the betterment of all people. Bye-bye, Jakey. Hola. Now, Nola. He's gone. Bang, bang.